In this video, I'll give a very basic introduction to Git and GitHub. This is for beginners to make them comfortable with Git, because in my future videos, I'll be putting the source code into GitHub. So, what is Git? Git is a distributed version control system used for tracking changes in source code during software development. It's like having a time machine for your code, allowing you to go back and forth to different versions. In this way, even if something goes wrong, you can always go back to the version that works. Let's think of a scenario which will give us an idea about its use case. Imagine you are making a presentation and you are doing this. Well, that's when Git comes into the picture. So let's start by installing Git. Sudo apt install Git. Done. Now let's create a repository or simply a folder. I'll just make a directory called .files and then copy some of my config files into this. And finally, a git init to initialize the repository. The next thing you want to do is git status. This will give you a status of your repo. It is giving me a list of untracked files. Git add, you can write the files one by one or just add a dot that selects everything. When you do this, it's like preparing to take a snapshot of your code. Git commit -m and then a message. Git commit is like taking the actual snapshot of your code with a message which explains what you have done. Now let's put this on GitHub. Before doing that, let's know what GitHub is. It's a place to host your Git repositories. Think of it like a Google Drive, but more inclined towards code and collaboration. Search for GitHub and create a GitHub account. Then go on and create a new repository. Give it a name, check public, and create. You'll see something like this. It is giving us some steps to create and push the repo. We have already done this, and this. Now let's add a remote URL and name it origin. And then I'll paste the URL that I copied. And then finally a git push origin. Give your GitHub username. Now for the password, let me show you what to do. There are a couple of ways to do that, but we'll be using a token. Open your GitHub, go to the settings, developer settings, token, generate one. And copy it. Now go back to the terminal and paste it with Ctrl+Shift+V. And done. That's it. You can check your GitHub repo. What we did just now is we pushed our local repo into a remote URL using git push. But if someone wants to set the codebase in his local machine from the remote, we can do that using git clone. Let's see that in action. We'll go to a GitHub repo. We'll copy the URL. And coming back to the terminal, git clone and then paste the URL. That's it. The entire code base from GitHub is now in our local machine. I have not explained all the things, but enough to make someone understand what he or she needs to do when I put a GitHub link in the description in my coming videos. And that exactly was the aim of this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and that's it. Until next time.